Hey, there we are. It's the Community Rip Live right here on Stocktwits because, it's Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's your guys. We got GP over there. He's in the top left-hand corner of my screen. And then Nick, Jfdi down there in the bottom. I'm your boy Ben, Bags. I've been called worse, so just chilling out in my mom's basement making trades today.
Yeah.
What you guys into?
Rockets. Space names. Yeah, I don't know. They're all holding up well. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's a Fed day. It's a big earnings day. We've got, of course, Jerome Powell. He'll be wrapping up the final 10 minutes of our show with us later. He'll be talking about his rate cut decision, and I think he's going to cut rate today. The base case is he don't. He probably doesn't, but I'm just I want to talk the boy up and say he's going to cut the rates today. Because Nick, why would that just Lambo moon everything?
I mean, you'd certainly think so.
You care?
I mean, I don't really. All I care is how we respond and how the market reacts to it. It doesn't really make a bit of a difference to me if we do or don't. It is. I mean, it's going to be difficult, I think, to really discern between like what is actually moving the market. Just the timing of the Fed announcement today in alignment with like all of the mag and market moving names between this week and next week. So, the Fed could, like they could cut rates so we could rip, and then a couple of mag names say some shit and we dump and roll, and like, or vice versa, or, it's really just how the market wants to kind of behave and react to whatever it is that they have to say. But so I like I said, I don't really care what they do. All I care is how we react.
Hey, GP, regardless of what happens in this binary event, there's a lot of big earnings today. And yesterday we had our good friend on the show, the Cookie Monster. Cookie was out here, and I got the cues up on the screen. You can see this little wedge, this triangle. That was something that Cookie was talking about and what he's expecting over the next, 6-8 weeks. GP, anything particularly that you took from yesterday's call that you think is reasonable to share?
That
I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah. To me is like you can either, like what I got from the call, which is probably counterintuitive, is if we're gonna get a nasty bear market in March, April, and it's gonna basically retest this area again, then just wait for that area to buy. Right? Yes, you can make money on this time, but if you're an investor, why deal with frustration for 2 to 3 months of gains? And obviously they could be big gains and things could not come back here. So that's the risk you always have. But if we're gonna have a really terrible move after March 30th, then we're pretty much exactly where we were for the last 4 months. And I'm like, what's the point of this market then? We're just going up and down, back into the same kind of channel.
Well, wouldn't that frustrate people enough, though, right? To sort of create this apathy and, like we've said in the past, and like you've said, divorce them from their shares.
Yep, and that's my point, though, right? Like, just if you're a trader, take full advantage of the next few months, right? Based on what's Cookie saying, build up that capital. But if you're an investor, why put any money to work here? I would just wait till that moment comes, if that's going to happen. That's the way I would be looking at it, right? That's more of a passive, like, because otherwise the frustration and mental capital is just going to be paramount, because you just saw 4 months or 5 months of a very frustrating range. You get 2 months of awesomeness, and then if we come back and retest the entire range again, it's like, right? Like it'll feel very long in the tooth at that point.
I'm interested to see what the chat says. So, chat, throw this out there. I'm posting it in there right now. Are we bullish enough, or will frustration continue? Nick, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was kind of messing with. So I was taking Cookie's kind of, how he was kind of measuring out or explaining these patterns, kind of like how you have that triangle, drawn. And I kind of was looking at one that was a little different than how he had it drawn out. And the triangle has basically repeated since the 2023, 2020, or 2022, 2023 lows, the one that I'm kind of looking at. And so I'm kind of like, the way I'm looking at the cues currently, I'm kind of keeping in the back of my mind two different bullish scenarios. One is where we break out of here and we kind of push up to like 720. The other is kind of what he was talking about, was kind of like 670, 680 before seeing that correction. And the way that I had it drawn, he was speaking to March 31st, I think.
30th,
and based,
the week of the 30th.
Yeah, and based on like the triangle that I had drawn, I thought, that would be an aggressive or like kind of an early start. But I am kind of in alignment with the timing, sometime end of March, like early April. Like the way that I have it kind of drawn, I have it kind of out to April 20th. I don't generally like try to pick tops like that. I generally allow myself to get kind of trail stopped out. But both him and MBG were kind of in alignment with what I was thinking in terms of like us kind of breaking out and pausing. Obviously, both of them thought that we were going to have a little bit gnarlier of a pull in, like this would be our kind of 10 to 15%, 10 to 12% correction this year. And that would kind of put us right back to kind of where we're at pretty much like right now, which I think would look, if it looked, if it looked similar to kind of the tariff sell off, I would almost appreciate that a little bit more than like a slow fucking grind. Because then, like, at least it allows bases to reset. It allows like people are getting full blown stopped out. Major moving averages are getting taken out. Like everything kind of has to reset rather than just kind of like, I don't know, just chop shit. So,
Nick, do you remember us talking about I think it was like August, September, about how this is very similar to the COVID pattern, right? COVID it topped out in September of 2020 and then went sideways for almost 4 months and then broke out and then retested and then went. Right. So if you look at, right, so yeah, there it is right there, right? So we basically topped out, kind of very, very similar pattern here, broke out for, I don't know, about 4 to 8 weeks or whatever it was.
I'm going to take it to the daily GP because the weekly doesn't really do it justice on how that all played out there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so go to like the September to December timeframe of 2020. Right, like does that now look very, very similar to kind of what we just did for the 4 months, right? And then we finally broke out, and then we went to like what, 339, 336, and they came back.
And there's your 10% correction.
Yeah, so that's my thought process here.
Sure. Yeah.
We've been following COVID for a long time. We talked about the next 3 to 4 months are going to be annoying, right? For as long, it's basically, as Cookie was saying yesterday, it's gone 70 to 80% in 6 months. it needs to consolidate, right? And so that's what we've been doing. The consolidation breaks out and retests, and I think that's what's going to happen in IWM right now, right? It finally broke out of a 4-year consolidation. On FOMC, I can see it coming back and retesting the breakout before it goes, right? It's all about divorcing you from your shares and frustrating you in the process. So that's what I think is going to happen. But then, like, what I'm going to spend time this weekend on is if this does happen, how do the names underneath act, right? Because that's more important than to me than a 10% correction in the Qs, right? Like if the mag names held up better, because if I remember correctly, the mag names during 2021 did hold up much better than all the SPAC names, do you remember, right? Like SPAC names and all the big runners were getting destroyed, like Roku and Square and all these guys started to get destroyed. So just got to see how the price action behaves underneath to the underlying, if that 10% correction does come.
Hey, Nick,
Yeah.
Other than trying to line up patterns with Cookie, anything else you took from yesterday's call with him, or we can go on to something else if you'd rather?
No, I mean, I thought it was a great show. I always appreciate, I love hearing his, kind of general confidence in his analysis. It's inspiring. And when it comes to pattern recognition and, like market behavior, like I'm very in alignment with what he generally is kind of putting out there because while I don't trade exactly the same way, I think I am trying to identify like behaviors and patterns that are repeating.
Yeah.
You know, for instance, like there's a period of time where kind of like island reversals were working. There was a period of time where inverse head and shoulders were working. There was a period of time where, um, you know, like if you can just get on board with what's working and kind of see how and start recognizing it early, the better off you are. You know, I think on the shorter time frame, you know, the big and easy play, I think right now is kind of the undercut and rally kind of trades, even if it's on a very, very short term, whether it's from scalping to day trading to even like just a short 3 day swing. And then you take that out to the monthly. So I know we had this conversation a while back where I feel like the intermediate term swing trading is going to get more difficult. Um, where and I think that the longer term trend trading and I think the shorter term like day to again 2 to 3 day swing trades is going to be kind of where it's at. But that's just kind of my opinion. Totally could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's just the older I get, the more I really like leaning into the monthly charts.
Yeah.
And deriving just generally my bias from the monthly. So
Yeah. I mean,
it was a good show.
I think, you know, we all try to find our own way to hit the easy button, right? We all try to automate or as the best we can our processes because it becomes repetition, right? If you keep your rules, it sort of just becomes ingrained that this is what I do. And that's one thing I love about Cookies. He's definitely got his processes down and, you know, says he's, you know, stands and sticks by them. And I have no reason to believe that that's not who he is and what he does. So I always appreciate it. You know, just looking ahead, I know he had a huge price target on Ethereum, which was, you know, news to me. That was sort of the biggest thing for me. I wanted to talk about crypto, and we definitely spent a lot of time on the Qs, which is great because that sort of gives you the risk on, risk off appetite. But seeing the Ethereum 7,500 call, you know, that just warmed me inside like a nice hot toddy. So anyway, looking ahead later today, we don't just have a Fed announcement coming up in an hour and 45 minutes now. We also have Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, ServiceNow. So we've got a rocking day here in the market, right? You know, Jay Powell can do one thing and, you know, it can be reversed or switched. I mean, we faced this I think the last time he was up there, right? We had other earnings. What was that? Late November or Octoberish. So I don't know what I expect from these earning calls. I think the Fed's going to lead the way a little bit. Of those names, obviously I'm long now. I sold my Tesla position, so I've closed that. Of those four, which one do you think is most bullish for an earnings surprise to the upside? GP or Nick, either one.
I was just gonna say I like Meta's setup the best. I think it's got a nice looking island. But GP, take it. Is he on mute? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah. I hate making judgment calls on earnings. These are binary events.
It's a multiple choice test. It's A, B, C, or D.
For anyone who's going to lead to a surprise, it's always going to be Elon for me. Meta's surprise is they make a lot of money. They're going to continue to make a lot of money. Microsoft, they make a lot of money. They're going to continue to make a lot of money. So to me, those two names are surprises on the downside, right? Like they miss a metric or they're not making as much money. So like the way I would look at it from that perspective is the risk is like I want to hedge my Microsoft and Meta position because ultimately they are under the 200 SMA still, I believe, right? Meta might have gotten back.
No, they're both under.
Yeah.
Tesla, Microsoft Tesla is over.
Tesla's over.
Microsoft and Meta are under. ServiceNow is probably under too. Yeah.
Yeah, by a long shot. Wow. Didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, that's that's a trade target right there.
Yeah, that's a mean reversion, easy breezy like that. So, especially for a great company like ServiceNow, right? So,
yep.
Like if you were asking me to make bets on earnings, which I don't really like to do, I'll take lottos here and there, where I'm risking a very defined like risk, but to me the risk still is that nothing good happens under the 200 SMA. Yeah, right, Nick. So I like the setup because it's coiled, and typically those coils under the 200 SMA are launch points as well. But so far, the market has been telling us that the 200 SMA has been a lock on your upside, right? So I wouldn't want to take the bet here.
Yeah, I'm with you, GP. That's part of the reason why I just closed my Tesla position today, right? I didn't want to have the double risk of whatever happens from the Fed or whatever happens on earnings. I'm already up 100% on the position. I've sold all the way up since last year, or actually in 2020. We're in 2026 now, 2024, right? Coming into last year's inauguration. So I'd already taken a lot out of the position. But what is 10% up or 10% down? Which would make me feel better or worse at the close today? It falling 10% or being up 10%. And the 10% to the upside when I'm already up significantly is the reason why I closed the position finally. It does, Nick, I was saying this before the show started. It does kind of feel like a burden has been lifted off of me in some degree because I've been saying for so long how badly I wanted to be out of the position. And now I've just sort of taken the handcuffs off, right?
Yeah. There you go.
Doesn't mean it can't go higher. And I know a lot of you guys are in Tesla, and I don't wish bad for you. It's just not my trade anymore. So,
I mean, generally, I think I'm not the kind of person that really like marries any of my positions. To me, like a ticker is a ticker, and I just want to be in whichever one is gonna outperform. Like I'm just trying to flip my dollars. So,
so I hear there's this new stock that's going to do really well on earnings. It's called GLD or SLV.
It just keeps going.
Man,
Are you shorting it here, GP?
Not on your anyone's family. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm long this. I shorted this back in October. I am long this, have been long into this. I actually bought calls even yesterday, because this is the expansion. Does this end well? Probably not. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try to make some money in the process, right? So, um, this has been one of the easier trades, right, Nick? We've talked about gold in a very similar manner in the past. Once it breaks a level, the consolidation level, you get long.
Yeah.
And until it tells you to stop out, you don't stop out. And so it's similar here. Would I recommend anyone getting long here without defined risk? No, right? Like, but it's not moving because of monetary policy. This is a momentum trade. These are all just momentum trades.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of traders pushing it up. You can call for the system is breaking and Trump is destroying things. And take a look at dollar today. Everyone's
Still in the crapper.
rise of dollar. Nope.
No, it's actually bounced. Yep.
Right? Like, all your narratives start to break as soon as you start putting things together. So trade the momentum, enjoy the ride, get out when the ride is over. It is, I would say, across the board for most stocks, right? No matter how much you love it, if it's not being bought or if it's not being held up by people who are buying it, it's going to go lower. Like UNH is a great example of that, right?
It's having a day today, GP. I mean, after its horrific fall off yesterday, but I know we've got your GP 222.07 down here still. I've got it marked, so we'll never forget.
But this is the thing, right? Like, this is the stage one base that it's building, and most of these stage one bases undercut the lows at some point. So that, like, this has always been technical. It's not a conversation around.
Oh, you're saying like a, yeah, I see what you're saying. So you're saying like a 200 to 300 kind of stage one base is getting built out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
like,
that.
Look at Boeing. Look at a lot of these names. They're all kind of in the same boat. They're range bound until they're not. They're not bad companies. You could say that's an inverse head and shoulder. I see that, right?
Yes.
But I don't like where the volume is on the inverse head and shoulder. It shouldn't be on the left.
Shouldn't be that way, right?
Yep. So if it happens that way, great. If you make it a call that it's an inverse head and shoulder and it actually goes up, great for you. But these don't follow my tech. But what I'm saying is, this is not a conversation about UNH. Is like, if people aren't buying it, and this has been my biggest thing with UNH, is where's the volume? Where's the amount of insane buying coming in on these drawdowns? It's more distribution. It's not accumulation. So I never thought it was a great setup, right? Until you get that capitulation. So stick to the stuff that's trending when the markets are not trending.
Nick, you had a take on UNH. You kind of like the monthly, or did GP change your mind?
Yeah, no, I hear what he's saying. Like I'm definitely not in disagreement. Just looking at the monthly and kind of based on today's action, how we're kind of off the lows. If you look, if you're on the monthly, you can kind of see we had a ceiling back here at about 285 going back to, looks like July of 2018. And kind of like a pocket of candles between kind of the 285 and like 300. So I think there's a potential for a higher low to get put in here. It's certainly not like my kind of trade, but like if, going back to the tariff lows and kind of how we talked through that, where, price puts in a major capitulation low, you get this like kind of day one rally attempt. Price kind of counter trend, bounces, price starts to roll over, tries to find some footing, and then can kind of build like a second leg higher. I think just based on the look of the setup, I think there's a potential for that. So like when we were having that conversation, I set an alert at 345 and 360, which would basically be the through this month's high. And so basically what that would look like is kind of an ABCD leg up. And that would put kind of, so like let's just say UNH was one of those kind of high conviction names and you wanted to build into it. That would put the measured move on that CD leg up to about 430, which is kind of a shitty spot because that's just retesting the low of that high level base there. It's not even getting priced back within that range. So it's not, actually now that I'm looking at it, it's not like the great, certainly not the greatest setup.
You talked yourself out of it.
Yeah, totally. Like if it put the measured move back to like, let's say 500, then it would be back within the range. And you're like, okay, fine. Price got back within the range. Now it needs to consolidate a little bit, maybe pulls back in, holds the 440, 450, and can kind of build higher from there. But you don't even have a measured move to get within that range. Not saying that it can't happen. I certainly like GP talking about kind of a stage one base building. I definitely like that idea, considering how hard the sell off has been and how like the volume coming into the sell off. So it really just kind of appears as though it needs more time to kind of build time and energy.
Nick just did the kombucha girl meme in real time. It's like,
yeah, totally. I like,
well, no.
Yeah, like shit. I mean, I didn't have that measured out when we were talking about it. I'm just like, as I was measuring it out, I'm like, oh shit, that would literally just kind of look like an ascending wedge right up into where price broke down from. I'd rather be shorting the move into 420, 440. I don't know.
So
yeah,
Nick,
sure.
that was like whoever's watching, that was a brilliant way of trading in general. Never biased to a certain viewpoint. Take a look at the details of what's going on and change on the fly. You literally just saw it happen real time, guys. That was awesome, Nick. Thanks for sharing. No, seriously,
Yeah.
I think it's a great like we should take a clip of this and broadcast this. This is a real-time trader's thought process, right? Like this is a great content like someone who's looking for what's going on in the markets. This is a great way to I just love it. Thanks, Nick. I really do.
Yeah, well, I mean, he could have
bull to
talked
bear
himself
to
out of
bull
it
to
and
bear.
back into it and back out of it, right? And I think that's one thing that the three of us do a lot of times, maybe not live during market hours like we are right now, but when we're charting or looking at setups, right? Sometimes they're obvious and those are really good, but sometimes like you see something else somewhere and it's like, right? And it kind of does this little ping pong in your head until you finally get that clarity or conviction. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no. If you actually speaking to UNH, just for on it, if you go back to kind of 2007, 2011 kind of sell off there, it's kind of like almost what you would want to see now. Where it was kind of it was kind of a stage one base, but it also kind of built kind of an ascending triangle within that base. So it took the time to kind of build that base out, build energy so that when it did kind of climb back up and retest like 42 to 45, if it would just have like spiked right up into that, you would have been thinking like, oh, this thing's going to reverse. It's just, testing what was prior support, now likely resistance, where rather it built out that kind of stage one base, climbed slowly, and then you see once price kind of reclaimed those low 40s and it pulled back in. What does that looks like? August 2011. It ended up holding that low, so it ended up turning what was resistance
Into support
versus like just outright resistance. Yeah, and I hadn't looked back that far, but
yeah, I think part of our bringing it full circle to our conversation with Cookie, right, and the Ethereum thing was how can. Let me frame this better in the UNH conversation, right? This was during the great financial crisis. We've been in a bull market the whole time UNH is doing
sure.
right? So
Yeah.
I think you got to look at that, and that was part of Cookie's thing with why he was bullish on crypto. Now to bring it full circle was we are in a bull market, and GP, you said it best yesterday. Crypto leads typically, but it's not. So is it a mean reversion trade? Is it a pulling the beach ball underwater trade? I don't know. We'll see. Nick,
Yeah.
we did touch on the names that are having earnings tonight, along with FOMC. But tomorrow we got Apple. Next week we got other mega cap names. How are you looking at a playbook, basically, over the next week? Do you have anything identified specifically that leads you down one path or the other, or a whole lot of if thens?
A lot of if thens and day by day. So definitely trying to, again, like the Duzio kind of playbook is in the back of my mind where, we get a weak Monday, which sets us up for kind of the turnaround Tuesday. We got AMD, PayPal, and looks like PFE on Tuesday. Google and Amazon are Wednesday, Thursday. So there's your kind of what could be your curveballs. I think it would be great to see, Google's been the one that's been on fire. So if Google disappoints and for whatever the case may be and takes the market down and we rally on Amazon's, that would kind of set us up for, firework Friday. I'm not saying like them like really smoke Google, but just, they smack it for whatever the case may be. Like it's just been the mag name that's been hot, where Amazon, I mean, certainly looks like it's ready to break out. And like again, on the day in which the reporting, it would kind of allow that to happen. I don't really feel like I have I mean, Mr. reports on Thursday too, which I think could be fascinating. Yeah, I think it's really gonna be a day by day, like day by day, and like however we react. It's almost like we're gonna have a Fed day every day. Honestly.
Yeah, to some extent, I think that's a great comparison. When we look at individual names, it's completely different than what the broader market's going to do. And I'm bringing it back to the Qs because I mean we've been a little gappy here, right?
Yeah.
And I love that everything's going up, but at the same time, you got to wonder if those gaps are going to stay filled, if they're going to continue to gap and go, which you can't imagine the broader market's going to keep doing that. But not every gap fills to the upside either. So GP, I don't know. Nick, do you guys think that we're in for some more slop over the next week, or do you think we're just going to continue grinding higher?
I think we're gonna start moving higher. I think we're gonna bust out of this range to the upside. It's just the direction I'm leaning. The 200-day is basically curling through the low of the current range that we're in.
Yep.
And so I kind of think price is gonna I mean, in what fashion, whether it's a melt grind higher or it's just kind of a straight rip, I can't really say, but I think we're starting to emerge from the space between the mag names and the Qs. I mean, God, they've been in a range for. I mean, looking at Microsoft, for instance, like it's literally been in a range since last May.
Yeah.
Like that's basically where price is sitting. So, just in thinking about time, I'm like, God, it's how much more time do they need to consolidate? And if they need more time to consolidate, okay, like what's the bear case there? Like, what if we haven't broken down by now? Why, like,
Well, if you bought April, right, and the
yeah,
early part of was that May? No, you didn't even get a day of May. If you bought April, you're pretty satisfied with things, right? I mean, I guess
if you're tied to the indices, but if you're in the mag name specifically, other than Google, probably not.
yeah, you're up.
Yeah,
I mean, not as much as you were during the highs, but
right.
what I'm getting to is, most of the gains were made in this time frame, right? So April to August, September, October. I mean, yeah, there's been some up, but on the mag names, for example, Meta's down 15% from its highs.
So yesterday I asked Cookie if he was familiar with the golden ratio, the term the golden ratio, and the Qs since basically the 2022 2023 lows, the golden ratio for the Qs is roughly 85 points. So like I think we're getting ready to go on about an 85-point run here in the Qs. Whether you want to measure that
700.
Yeah. So that's why I was thinking like I see the time frame that Cookie's talking when it comes to late March. I just think it's going to be sometime closer mid-April as opposed to end of March. So it's still basically the same kind of time frame, just off like a couple weeks.
GP, does it matter to you? And I don't mean to be flippant, but mags have sucked. You've repeatedly said that you want to be in real world stocks. You want to be in metals, right? None of the mags are trending really. So does what the Qs and the biggest names in the market, do they matter to you in your process?
They stopped going down, which is what we asked for last week, right? That was it's like, can you just stop going down, right? Like, and so as soon as they stop going down, take a look what the indices finally broke to the top of the range. We got to the top of the range, and immediately they're trying to sell. We aren't out of this range yet, right? Like we haven't broken out of this range to go anywhere. And obviously, FOMC with earnings most likely will just end up being flat. That's the reality. There's so many binary events. The binary events cancel each other out to do nothing. That's my thought process. Now, if Microsoft, Meta, Tesla all miss and the Fed raises rates, you better watch out. Right? Like, if that all happens, we could get bad. I don't like these binary events, and I feel
I don't think we're going to have
I
don't think we're going to have a rate increase. I would completely throw that out the window, at least for today.
I would just say that the 10-year has been tracking higher. Like every time the Fed cuts, the 10-year goes up, right? Like it's been a phenomenon since last September, and that looks like it's going to break out. So, like I don't know what to tell you, right? Like surprise rate cut and we're screwed, right? Like I don't know what gets saved at this point. So if surprise rate cut comes in, that could explain why gold and silver are front running stuff. Sorry, rate hike, not cut,
rate hike. Yeah,
rate hike.
Yeah, I think a rate cut would be we would all of a sudden have a lot of frothy people foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, well, dude, I think in general the rate cut makes sense for us Americans, right? Like it's like lower the cost of money so we can continue to grow the small businesses and the engine that drives everyone's lives. This nonsense of strangleholding the U.S. economy because there's a beef between a dumbass and a second dumbass. Like it's just like get out of the way and let us cook, right? Let the Americans cook. And so I prefer a rate cut, but I also understand that they have to manage um, stuff. But I don't prefer a rate cut because the stocks will go up. We don't know if there's any real evidence of that ultimately in the short term, maybe long term. But I think just American people deserve it. They need cheaper car borrowing costs. They want to grow businesses. they're having to choose between one or the other unless you made a bunch of money during the COVID era and held on to it.
We one of the questions I left Cookie with yesterday was which would you rather be in, right? You gave this huge bullish price target on Ethereum. Tesla's Tesla. It's volatile for it has been volatile. It's a terrible trader, as we know. Or semiconductors. And one of the biggest semiconductors reported this morning, ASML, and it is down. Kind of looks like the gold chart a little bit with that parabola. Not as great as gold, obviously, GP. But some chips have been getting whacked. You have some winners, specifically the storage names, right? The MUs of the world. And recently, Intel was one of those yesterday, and now it's up big again today. Was that just another obvious divorce you of your shares scenario?
Yeah, dude, like it was so ridiculous. They pumped it all the way up to 50, 54, 55 into earnings.
It was like 55.
Yeah, like
54 or
and
something.
then everyone just decided to sell. Like, oh yeah, everything changed in one day. Blah blah blah. No, they're. I guess the best way to say is divorce you from your shares, but they're just playing games, right? Like it's, so like when I basically got back to the retest right there at the 42 level, I sold puts. I'm like, this is nonsense. Um, like I'm just gonna if like I was able to sell puts for a decent amount because of the size of the move. And I'm like, I'm just gonna cash in on this because it's not an expensive company by any means. And for you to go from it's not like they didn't know that earnings weren't going to be great. It's Intel. It's like 25 years of not being great. Like, so, but look, like every sell is a little bit less, and every buy continues to set up.
So similar to your gold short that you did back in October, right? This scenario here, and then you got back long. Do you see this as a case for Intel? Right? You could have shorted that, but is it now time to get back along Intel?
I think it's gonna churn here, right? Like as gold did as well. So you can go back and retest the 42 level. You can even undercut and get to that 50-day moving average or whatever that yellow line is, right?
50.
Yeah. So I think you can churn for a bit here, but I think by March, April, it should resolve higher. Right in time for the next earnings where they surprise to the upside. So
Nick,
yeah.
I was looking at a couple of your semiconductor names, specifically where is it at here? I got it in my watch list somewhere. Yeah, LRCX, the infamous LRCX.
And Clack.
Yeah, Clack was going to be next, of course.
Yeah.
But what are you seeing in the? I put one too many C's on there. What do you see in the semis, or do you still like the names that you like? Obviously, Nvidia's been churning now for months, and it can't be the only one leading. And there have been other areas in the semiconductor index that have, just look at stocks, right? That have led this baby higher, regardless of what Nvidia is doing. And I think 3 or 4 months ago, people would have been like, "No, it's going to do what Nvidia does."
Yeah, I don't know. I think AMD is the one to the setup that's set up. Like I think LRCX and Clack, I think they both look great. They're trending. So if you're gonna get involved in either, I think you're buying backfills. Probably at this point, you'd probably want to use the 20-day. It is getting a little extended from the 50. Although it's been respecting the 10, at least Clack has, and LRCX as well. I don't know. I just have I like the way AMD is setting up. It really looks like it's kind of building out a cup and handle, and so I think this is the breakout that's going to push it to 300 plus. Just based on the width of the range from 200 to 270.
So you'd want to see a pull in down to about 230 something. You'd want
Yeah,
to
I
see
don't
it
have
move
any
here.
AMD on currently, but if I got 230s, I would get involved. Me personally, I'd buy it. That or I'd be waiting for probably like today's high to get taken out. Which it took out yesterday's little doji candle high. And then obviously reversed. I just it wasn't on my focus list currently. So if it got a little bit harder to pull, and it would just give it a little bit more time to kind of build out this handle versus just we've got what 2-3 days, 4 days into this right now. If it took like as it stands right now, if it reversed here and took out 265, I'd also be involved. I am looking to add to Nvidia though. I think Nvidia. I think the November 20th candle high is probably the cheater pivot that you would want to use if looking to either buy on strength, buy on momentum, or buy a breakout. I think that's the candle to watch. It's the
So
high
like
volume candle kind of within this.
196.
Yeah. So yeah, I would like to leg back into Nvidia and AMD. I think LRCX and CLAC I've kind of just let go of. MU I've done a kind of a poor job. I'm just writing it. So
So this cheater high you're talking about, you'd wait for it to take out 196 to the upside. Is that what you're saying?
yeah. If like prices basically remained within that high candle volume. Yeah, we spent a little bit of time kind of testing 170, but for the most part, pardon me, that candle has kind of acted as the range that we've been in. We did see December 19th, like that was a pretty nice high volume candle as well. And then when price pulled back in, we ultimately held that candle.
Yep.
So that's what kind of has me lean towards the upside. It spent plenty of time racing, kind of range bound, and it just kind of feels like, I don't know, it's ready for both of those to go. I mean, if we saw NVIDIA and AMD run, let some of the others kind of cool off, like, LRCX, the last time it broke out was, as it broke out through 100. I mean, it's been on a 140 point run. Like that thing could easily pull back to 165, 170, and it would still look fantastic. Yeah, A-Lab for sure. If you're looking at A-Lab, I think A-Lab looks fantastic. And it's kind of an IPO base, or IPO range. The 30 and the 40 week have,
there too.
yeah. TSM, yeah, I was looking at TSM too. I have that on my list, but I've never had any alerts. Like, if you look at TSM, like, especially on the weekly, like, God, that's what you want to see in a fucking trend, like a legit power trend. You've got, as it's trended higher, like I could probably count at least 10 different 3-week tight patterns that it's built as it's kind of climbed higher. Back before when it broke out kind of mid 40s, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost like 8 weeks tight before it broke out. Then it went another 3-week tight early September, another 3-week tight in October. And then it just kind of went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks tight before its current breaking out right now.
It's crazy. Not too long ago, that was a $30 stock.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a shorter term momentum trader, you could take the trade in TSM here all day. You're just looking for, on a short term measured move, you're probably looking for a leg up to about 155. So it's a shorter term trade because you're just buying the breakouts, and as soon as you hit those measured moves, you're gone. Just depends on how you want to play them. But as we kind of talked about Soxel yesterday with Cookie, it was like, dude, look at Soxel today. We're literally testing the highs of the range that we've been in since basically 2018.
It's wild.
We pulled the SMH. SMH, obviously not. It's been just a fucking melt. But
I mean, I could even, we love to see chart patterns.
yeah.
GP, you see that? You think that's accurate?
Yeah, I think obviously where I like the volume, right? So the volume coming in at the head is an extremely powerful tool. So what do you think, Ben?
I love it. You guys know I love semis. Soxel is one of my favorite things to trade when I'm being active. And yeah, I mean,
Global Foundries, Randy.
I think it looks great.
I mean,
GFS, a name we haven't mentioned in a long time.
yeah.
It's having a day. It's having a week.
Miserable base.
Look at that. I don't know.
Yeah, it basically looks like the indice 2022 chart. And now we're having kind of the 2023 time period where it's testing the high of that. That's kind of finally going sideways.
Hey, GP, are you still watching Dr. Copper?
Yeah, it's been behaving worse than the metals, and I hate the fact that everyone talking about copper being the next metal to go when you heard it here first last year. We've been talking about Dr. Copper and regional banks for how long now, guys?
I don't know. Forever.
Yeah. So I hate that everyone's on board trying to catch the metals trade, so to speak, now. So I have a feeling it's going to fail ultimately before it goes. I wouldn't like to, because this is one of those other things that's great for us Americans, right? This is a economy stock. This is it tells us that we're growing. It tells us that we're in an expansionary cycle for our GDP, for our small businesses, et cetera, right? So I like it. Now there's too many eyes on it, so expect a lot of divorcing you from your positions moments until everyone gives up, and then it will go.
Wow, we've flown by today. Every time I look, it's like we got 10 minutes left. Hey, chat. I don't know if you guys want us to look at a few names. If you do, yeah, CCJ's Beast Mode Za. That was one I charted a while ago. Really liked it. But chat, if you have some names that you want us to look at really quickly, we could probably take 2 or 3. Nick, GP, what's on your screen right now that you're focused on?
I'm watching the games that are going on in silver and metals, in gold. For the most part, everything else, like, honestly, guys, like, it's just not even worth looking at. Like, oh, look, hey, something's gonna pop 10%. Oh, look, it's red by the end of the day. This has been the market for the last 4 months, right? So being on trend is where I've been watching most of my stuff and using that cash to build positions elsewhere, like buying the miserable stock called Rivian.
Yeah,
just a casual 50% pull for absolutely no reason. Zero reason.
Well, it hit a line on my chart. That's why.
Failed the base breakout. Lovely stock, I tell you. It is fantastic. It is so awesome.
I've got it's retesting the base.
Yeah. Whatever. It's garbage.
So that's my base right there. So we'll see.
I
added some today. I added some Rivian today.
So did I. It's still messy though, right? So closer to my original buy point of 12 is always better, but it's not like, this is the stage 1 base that we talk about, right? It rose like, wait, why did we go from 24 to 15? I'm like, what reason? Look at the volume. There's no reason. There's just no buyers. This is a classic. I'm gonna take you out of your shares right before we launch this massive production cycle, right?
Could be.
That's what I think, but I'm obviously always wrong on Rivian until I'm right.
Hey, I'm bullish. I bought some shares today, right where I said I would buy some shares. So if anything, I'm a man of my word. Hey, GP, Nick, what's on your screen? And then we'll get to a couple of these tickers at the throwing in.
As far as Momo and momentum breakout trades, RR, RDW, and RCAT are the three that I'm in right now.
Yeah, Ridge Tech had a huge day yesterday, 44%, which is
Yeah,
a social media name. I can't get around on TikTok without seeing somebody mentioning Ridge Tech for the last, I don't know, month and a half at least.
Yeah, I don't know. They've been on the focus. They've been on my focus list. I think, again, where we're at, robotics, basically all things like, fucking sci-fi are where I think that, at least momentum, like and speaking of momentum and like breakout trades, I think that's where your focus should be. Because if they are these names that are real popular among FinTwit, when they run and they run hard. Whether they can sustain those moves, obviously, is to be determined. But like ASTS, it's going into all-time highs today. Actually back up to RDW. The reason I like it so much is it has a
Which
symmetrical.
Which one?
RDW. Redwire.
Okay.
I like the descending wedge that it's kind of built out, and it's sitting right at the descending trend line currently. Yeah, exactly. So you can kind of see. I think if it breaks out of here, I think we can get a push back up to the mid 20s, and then obviously if we break that, then it's all-time highs and we're off to the races. But I don't know. I like these. I like these fast movers. They've been good to me. So
I'm not even going to mention what the chat's talking about right
yeah.
but one name that our buddy Za threw out there, and Nick, and you said run, is Sunrun. I know you've both been in and out of solar. I mean, I don't know. That looks like it's trying to consolidate there. What's your take on it? I kind of like it. I
like run.
I would take it for sure. Yeah. I would take that trade. Yeah.
I think of the like solar names, NXT and AARY are the ones that are set up. NXT obviously popped today, and it's kind of pulling in a bit, but yeah, I like run too. I mean, I like.
I think you got an obvious stop out there, right? If it loses last week's low, you're gone, right? If it goes over 2150, which is about today's high or the week's high.
I must have spoken to run either on here or with somebody, because I have a man. I like the weekly. Yeah, I like the weekly chart actually quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I got on right here. How's your chart different?
Looking at the weekly, I have got a descending channel kind of going back to the 2021 highs.
Sure.
And basically we started going sideways in 2024. And we had a breakout failure in September of 2024, which led to kind of a breakdown failure in early 2025, which makes the stage 1 base look as though that false breakdown was kind of a Wyckoff spring. So it, price snap back up. We did break out, and now we're kind of, again, what looks more of like a cup and handle currently. And let's see, 5 to 20, so 15. I mean, the measured move on just the existing kind of build out is back up to 35 on the cup and handle, but then you also have the descending channel, which that measured move is back up to the 60s. So I like run a lot.
Yeah, it looks good. GP, any other take on run? I know you'd rather be an FSLR.
That's right there. That's all I got. Right.
It's like we know each other. It's like we're actually friends away from this.
We are. This is a crazy thing. So what I would say is, if you're looking at the run on the weekly, it's holding the weekly 50, but the 200 is curling underneath, right? So that's sorry, the 50 is curling underneath and it's holding above the 200 weekly. So these typically can push up here a little bit, but tend to come back and allow the cross to happen on the weekly. So I would personally look at this from like maybe a short-term trade higher, but like if you want a position for a longer-term move, wait till that cross gets closer as the prices pull further in. And
somewhere from 17 to 20.
yeah, so like it's 17 is the level I'd be looking at, right? I wouldn't chase this here personally. And if it goes without any of that stuff, more power to you. But that's why I'm in FSLR, because I still participate with you.
We're out of time. Jay Powell's getting ready to tell us something. GP, last words.
I had one, but I don't remember it now because I'm on 2 to 3 hours of sleep for the last 2 weeks. So don't let them divorce you from your shares. And happy to have everyone part of the community here with us every week. You guys are awesome. Keep coming. We'll keep trying to give you different content and more content, and some of these great breakdowns from Nick, right, on chart analysis.
Nick?
We are not bullish enough. Just fucking do it.
Just fucking do it. My last word is I love you guys, GP, Nick. And don't forget you, Ryan, producer Ryan, laying in the cut, ready to cut us off here. Thanks, chat. We'll be back here Wednesday, 1 p.m. We'll see you then on the Community Rip Live.